Hey, horror fans, once again, it is me, the Horror Miser on EG. It's time to review a horror movie that actually came out. I believe it's playing on Amazon Prime. Yes, kind of not a movie, but a psychological thriller. Recommended by my good friend Emma from Spooky Astronauts. It is the German film called Drunk, Locked in.
Y'all ready for this?
Once again, it is me, the Horror Miser on EG. Now, Drunk Locked Inside is a 2023 German psychological crime thriller film. It was written and directed by Marc Schieber. Now, the film stars Cinna Martins, Jochen Glitz, Louise Helm, Charles Rittenhouse, and Paul Cairo. Now, in the film, Malina wakes up disoriented in a trunk of a speeding car and discovers to her horror that she is missing more than her memory. With her mobile phone as the only link to the outside world, she wages a desperate battle for survival. So, horror fans, you know most urban legends can be frightening, but I believe one that can be really scary to anyone is the one called the kidney heist. Now, just imagine yourself waking up in the middle of nowhere in a bathtub full of ice with no memory of how you got in the tub and then realize you're missing a kidney. If I could hear the holy shit's going on right now, what the hell happened to me? Now, I'm pretty sure horror filmmakers can use this premise as the basis of a decent horror film or a psychological thriller. You know, you can go one way or the other. You can try to go it to where you can have it backwards to find out what happened to the person. Or I forgot the film is called Tauruses. I forgot the film that actually dealt with not just this instance, but a whole horror film based upon people doing pirate blood harvesting where they just knock you out. The next thing you know, you're not just missing a kidney, you could be missing eyes, could be missing anything, could be missing a heart. And unfortunately, at one instance, the person died. But there's a lot of ways you can go with this particular premise. And so that's what German writer-director Marc Schieber brings up with his latest project, a German film called Drunk, Locked In. Now, we start things off with a bang as Melina Voss, who's a medical doctor, wakes up disoriented and finds herself locked in the trunk of a speeding car with no memory on how the hell she got in there. She just wakes up, she's scared shitless, and she's like, I'm in a goddamn trunk. I don't know how I remember how I got in here. Now, as the film progresses, Marlena learns from the video she took of her and her fiance, Inno, on her mobile phone that they were abducted by a stranger and the stranger is demanding ransom to pay for her release. We don't know what happened to Inno, but we know that for some reason she's now in the trunk. She can't move. It must have gave her some type of sedative where she can't move her legs, and now there's a ransom to pay for her release. So, can Melina find a way to escape the nightmare she finds herself in? Well, that's what the rest of the movie shows the audience. You know, one of the things that I got vibes when I first watched the film is that I got vibes from the 2013 American thriller The Call that starred Harold Bailey. Now, in that film, it had a similar premise where Bailey's character, who was a 911 operator, is talking to a victim who was also kidnapped and locked in the trunk of a car. They wind up getting a little small rapport, and that's what some of the stuff that happens in that film happens in this film as well. That's because later on in the film, when Melina calls emergency services that they have there in Germany, and she eventually bonds with an agent named Elise. Now, first of all, I really have to get Mark credit, as most of the film takes place in the trunk of a car that Melina is in, and this allows the audience to feel what Melina is feeling. You know, she's in a closed, cramped, damp, small space with very little room to move around in, and you get a very claustrophobic feel when watching this film, because that's how well the film is looked. It's filmed very well, very great cinematography, captures all the dark images, the darkness in this place, the helplessness that she feels. So you really got to give Mark credit and the filmmakers credit. Like I said, great cinematography, great, amount of attention and suspense you need for a setting like this. Mark also does an excellent job in developing Melina's character, as we learn that she is a medical doctor, which plays well in the condition she finds herself in throughout the mark of the film. Like, obviously, they did some type of operation on her, and she's now missing a kidney. Oh man, it goes goes from bad to worse for Marlena. Now, all this is happening allows the audience to feel sorry for Melina, and you hope that she can find a way to escape this incredible nightmare she finds herself in. She's in the middle of nowhere. The only thing she can communicate with is the mobile phone that she has. She bonds with Elise. She doesn't know what happened to her boyfriend, and then all of a sudden we find out that she's missing a kidney. You feel all this stuff and say, well, we can just hope that something good to happen to her so she can survive this nightmare. Now, while all that aspects is good, unfortunately, there are some logic gaps in the film, particularly when it comes to certain situations that happen in the film that we know cannot happen in real life. There are certain elements in the film where, she's doing a whole bunch of stuff, and you really have to understand is that the person must hear her in the background, but it looks like he's more determined to get to his destination as opposed to what's worrying about her, which kind of offsets the film. It kind of brings the film down as we start to lose interest. Not once they start to lose interest, but it lowers the tensions and suspense that Mark was building in the beginning of the film. And when that happens, we sort of lose that tension. There are also times in the film where Marlena is talking to Elise and they start to bond, but unfortunately, there are some times in the episode where the dialogue doesn't really make any sense. And I don't know if it's because it was the translation, because they speak German, but it's in subtitles, I believe. Amazon Prime actually has subtitles. I don't know if people actually saw, excuse me, the German version in German. I don't know if it's lost in some translation because some of the conversations that Marlena and Elise have in the film doesn't make sense, and it takes everything out of the film when you had the tension and the bonding that they had. Then Mark tried to throw in a twist in the story, especially when it comes to the motivation and why Marlena was targeted and who that person is. I guess they thought it would be a bit shocking, but to me, it really didn't kind of surprise me. It might surprise some other people, but I guess because the motivation isn't really brought out as much, especially when the twist comes into play, it really didn't have the effect that I believe Mark thought it would have. Now, luckily, the film is saved by German actress Sienna Martin's performance, as she basically carries the film. Most of the scenes include her and what she's going through in the truck. There are a few times where we actually do not see what's going on in the truck. We get to see some outside of the car that she's in. We get to see the kidnapper who he is, and then we get to see some other stuff right here. But it's basically Sienna Martinez's performance is what carries the film. Now, she gives Marlena the right amount of courage, determination, fear, and anger throughout the time that Marlena is in the truck. Without that, her performances in the film would be a bit boring, but it's mainly what she gives to Marlena. We all pull for her despite some of the logic gaps in the film. So overall, like I said, despite some logic gaps and some pacing issues, this wasn't okay through it. It wasn't bad. It was some great acting from the lead actress and some decent cinematography by Mark and his team. But it just you want it more, but you certainly don't get it. I don't know. Could it be for budget reasons? I really don't know how much it cost to film, but overall, it was okay thriller. I think some of you will enjoy it. Maybe some of you might not. So I'm going to give Trunk Locked In only 2 out of my 5 bloody gold coins. Like I said, it's an average to above average thriller film. Like I said, you got the good performances by the lead actresses. You got some great cinematography. Mostly all the action takes place. There's some good bonding moments that we have with Marlena and Elise, but that's kind of about it. So there you have it, my horror fans. That is my video and review for Trunk Locked In. I hope you guys did enjoy it. And if you did, please give me a thumbs up, like, and share. It really helps out with that YouTube algorithm. Have you seen Trunk Locked In? Leave your comments in the comment section below and tell you what you thought about the film. Also, if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. That way, you'll be notified anytime when I put a new video such as this one. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Monty G, and always remember that horror rules. And I see you guys in my next video. You guys stay safe out there.